If everyone can hear me correctly, welcome everyone to our grant writing info session. My name is Mohammed and I'm joined with Ryan Knight. So let's get started. First, we just want to go through some Zoom meeting etiquettes. We would like everyone to change their name to the name that they registered with. This is just so we can identify them correctly. You don't have to turn on your camera, but it's preferred. Also, if you have any questions, you can raise your hand just so you can get the attention of Mines or Ryan's. Also, be respectful and just show respect to everyone in the room. And if you don't want to raise your hand or turn on the camera, you can also use the chat to ask any of your questions. And also to mute your mic. This is just so there's no other background noise interrupting the session. We also like to begin by acknowledging the First Peoples and traditional land. I would like to begin by acknowledging the indigenous people of all the lands that we are on today. While we meet today on a virtual platform, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the lands which we all call home. We do this to reaffirm our commitment and responsibility in improving relationships between nations and to improving our own understanding of local indigenous peoples and their cultures. So a little bit about Empowered4X. Empowered4X is a business consulting firm. We support all entrepreneurs by providing co-working and business service memberships, as well as training and consulting. We can help you with business planning, operations, financial projections, bookkeeping, grant writing, and marketing strategies. We have various offerings depending on where you are in your journey from ideation to scaling up. If you want to learn more or connect with us, please visit our website at empowered4x.com, or you can email us at connect@empowered4x.com to set up a discovery call. So here's a brief list of some of the training programs we offer at Empowered4X. There's the Social Enterprise Certification Program, the Mental Health Standard Certification, the Mental Health Supporting Youth Certification, and the Grant Hunter University. Here's a list of some of the services we offer at Empowered4X. First is our virtual offices that we have at 3 different locations. There's the Ottawa, Scarborough, and Brampton location. This is where you can obtain a professional address, business support, among many other things, as well as marketing, grant writing, technology, and management related services. Lastly, we offer BizGrams, which is a promotional live show meant for entrepreneurs to promote their business. So some of our upcoming events include our frequent grant writing info session, the DIY to Modify series, our monthly Jelly Social networking and financial literacy events. And you can also follow this QR code right here if you wish to register for any of these events. So this is a brief timeline of how we work with our clients in regards to grant writing. First, we have the DIY, which is the do-it-yourself grant info sessions, and the Grant Hunter University, which is a course for social enterprise business owners and nonprofit founders that are on the hunt for grants and would like a guided checklist to help along the way. Along the way, we have the funding summary, and this is where one of our specialists look for dedicated grants or grants relevant to that specific client, which they can apply for. Clients may also work alongside us to complete the grant writing blueprint. And for clients that write the grant application themselves, our team is willing to review it for them, and the cost would vary based on the size of the grant itself and the budgetary constraints. The other one is the paid session working group, where the client can come into a physical space or a Zoom room, and this is where they write the grant, but a grant writing expert works alongside them throughout the whole process. And the last process to cover is the Modify series, which is the Make Others Do It For You. This is where clients interested in a grant can have one of our grant writers write the grant for them, and the cost can vary between $500 to $3,000 depending on the size of the work. So before we go on, we would like to give a shout out to our sponsors and partners like One Full Circle, SETC, Calabash, Toronto Community Benefits Network, the Dream Legacy Foundation, Sheridan College, Alterna Savings, and ZSC. So here's today's agenda. You will meet with our facilitator, Ryan, where he will give you an overview of the grants and how we can help you throughout your journey. So now I would like to introduce you all to Ryan, our key facilitator. Ryan is a serial social entrepreneur who started a few social enterprises, namely Detailing Nights, but also Service Kingdom, Executives Power Up, and Black Panther's Cage. He is also the co-founder of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network. This is where he works with entrepreneurs of Afro and Caribbean heritage to help them figure out what stage they're in and to help them grow exponentially. So now I'll pass it on to him.
Much appreciated, brother, Mohammed. So a quick overview of ACBN just before we jump into it. And we started 5 years ago, and which reminds me, our 5-year anniversary is happening December 3rd. So invitations will go. Mohammed, please remind me to send everybody the invitation. We're going to be doing it in person in Brampton, where we had our first ever event at Chinguzi Ski Chalet. So those from Brampton will know what Chinguzi is. But we started 5 years ago because as an entrepreneur myself, we were seeing a gap. Well, I was seeing a gap when I was trying to scale and grow my company, Detailing Nights. We wanted to franchise and expand across Canada and into the US as well. But there were no Black-focused business organizations that had it in their mandate to help companies scale. So we brought 6 other entrepreneurs together, said, could we create this entity that would sit down with an entrepreneur, figure out what stage of business they're in, and then help them create a strategy to grow their companies. And thus ACBN was born. Next one. And so over the past 5 years, we've actually engaged with over 5,000 Black businesses. We've seen about 74% of them have been female, and 91% are the business founder or the CEO. But what I'm most proud of is being able to partner with other Black-focused business organizations. Actually, there's over 40 now across Canada that we've been able to work with. And we do have a special guest today that is joining us, who I'll introduce a bit later as I touch on the grants that are available. But being able to collaborate with other organizations so that when we talk to entrepreneurs, no matter what stage they're in, we're able to connect them to the right supports. And if the support doesn't exist, then we're able to create that support to fill the gap. And next one. And just a quick overview of the pillars that we stand on. Of course, economic inclusion, and I would say economic empowerment. And I feel entrepreneurship is one of the best tools to be able to deliver that, because it's low barrier to entry, but high unlimited potential. And especially for the youth, it's a great time to start a business and test if entrepreneurship is for you when you still have a place to live if things don't work out. But also, if you're working somewhere and having that side hustle, even at the workplace, being an entrepreneur and understanding kind of how to amplify your work by having that entrepreneurial spirit. We've seen it work in many facets. But now with entrepreneurship and the resources that are available, these convening, when we did our info sessions and networking events in person, or these info sessions online, it's really about sharing knowledge. And on my journey, there's been, I'd say, a few successes that we want to share with you so that you can also have that success for your organization and your business as well. Which brings us to why we're here today, that access to funding. For ACBN, we were able to create our own internal microloan program, so entrepreneurs are able to get up to $25,000 through a process that ACBN manages in partnership with Alterna Savings. But going forward, there's a lot of Black-focused capital out there, whether it's investments or access to loans, and really understanding how to navigate it and leverage that capital. I know a lot of times we're looking for grants, but loans are also out there that can help you execute what you need to do to grow your company. But for today, we're talking about grants. So if you can go to the next slide. I like to show this slide just to give you an idea of the breadth of grants that are out there and types of funding that's out there as well. And also, you'll notice I'm not an academic PhD grant writer, so I'm not versed in the full language and the nuances of how to write grants. Like, I know how to write them and get them in, but you know, I'm more quantity, like finding all that I qualify for and making sure that my application is in. And I've noticed that a lot of times we will get grants, and not because we're the best, but sometimes just because not enough people applied. And so money is there, they have to give out the money, and it goes to us. And hey, I can admit that we're not the best at everything, but I feel I'm the best at finding what is out there and then sharing that with you so that you can also apply, because you're probably better than me, so you have a good chance of getting it. And also the types of grants and funding. So we've gotten grants from pitch competitions, from the city, from the province, from the federal level, and even sponsorship from corporations, and as low as $500 all the way up to over $1 million. And again, we see kind of the shiny $1 million grants, but really it's the build up to those organizations, that level where you can say, hey, you get comfortable writing grants, even if for 10,000, 50,000, and then the grants that are bigger, you'll realize it's very similar to the smaller grants. It's really similar, the same questions that they're asking, and you telling your story and really showing why you're the best person to steward these funds and get the grant. So that's what I'm hoping you leave here with, is a comfort level to apply for grants that you qualify for. Don't miss the money just because we didn't get the application in. I'm sorry, you can go to the next one. And a big reason is because, like I said, I like seeing you win, like you get these grants. And a story that we typically tell is like Rescue Youth International, where they weren't getting, I would say, the amount of grants that they definitely deserve, but because they're busy doing the work, doing great work with youth in the education and justice system, they don't have a dedicated team to write grants. So we were able to work alongside them, find the investment readiness program, which we're going to talk a lot about later today, and create a social enterprise concept, which turned out to be a food truck. They were able to qualify for the grant, get 30,000 to bring this idea to life. And same thing with Custodia, but on the other side, a for-profit company that started to operate like a social enterprise. They were able to get grants from the Investment Readiness Program and New Life Project, an organization out in Ottawa that, again, wasn't getting the grants that they deserved. We were able to work alongside them to see what they qualified for, get the application in, and then they were successful with the Supporting Black Communities Initiative. You can go to the next one. So typically in the working groups, we work on the grant writing blueprint. So the grant writing blueprint is what I call the answers to all the questions that you might see ahead of time, and you put it into a document to save as your blueprint. So what we did with Detail Ignites when I first, I would say, got successful with one of the bigger grants, is now that grant I got help from a grant writer. And so I've been trying and getting declined. And then when I had support to actually polish and fine tune that application, and it was successful, and because of a collaboration that we put together with a nonprofit, that now became the blueprint that I've used really as the guiding document for a lot of the grants that I write, because I've already answered all the questions about what I do and the story and the work that I want to do and the impact that I want to have. You don't want to always start from scratch. So that's why we talk about the grant writing blueprint. So when we talk about, let's say, the investment readiness program that's open right now, and we're working through those questions, be sure to save those questions into a document, and that document will become like a Google Doc or a Word document. That document will become your blueprint. So when you find another grant that you qualify for, you're 80 to 90% there. Next one. And this is a great tool that the federal government actually created. And when we send out the slides and the recording, there'll be a link to the Business Benefits Finder. So on this website, you're able to answer questions about your business, and then it'll actually spit out all the different grants and subsidies at the federal level that are available that you can apply for. So I find it's really engaged, like it's a good interactive tool, very simple fill in the blanks questions, and then you'll be able to see all the different grants that you qualify for. All right, next one. Okay, so actually, if you can stop sharing, I am going to share my screen. But just before I do, I did want to introduce one of our special guests. Roger Dundas is here from Buy Blacks. And as we go through these grants, we're gonna kind of chat back and forth about how it can pertain to restaurants, because in a couple of weeks, we're going to be doing a specific grant session for the restaurants that are participating in Buy Blacks Restaurant Week. So, Roger, are you there? Are you able to unmute?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So thank you, Ryan, for inviting me on the session. So far, it's been very informative. I'm just sitting back and listening and watching. I'm sorry, guys, I don't have a mic because I am actually on a desktop. So
Gotcha,
I,
gotcha.
there's no mic attached to this, no camera attached to this desktop. So sorry about that.
Yes, no worries. And that's where as I go through this, one thing that I'm going to talk a lot about is collaboration. And something that a lot of times we miss when we're writing grants is who to include in the grant to circulate the dollars in our community. And when we're talking about food and restaurants that are in our community, when we write the grants, we should be putting those line items in. And we usually put a line item for an event, but we actually don't create a partnership with, let's say, a specific restaurant that is local that you can support. So that's something also to think about, is that if you're doing a grant for an event that you're having, or even if you're just doing a celebration after a project, put in businesses that are in your community that we can support. And at the end of the presentation, I'm going to talk a bit deeper about that, because there's even people maybe on this call that can provide services that we want to include in our grants, so dollars are circulating. But so let me share the first one here. So the Black Opportunity Fund, they created a fund. Actually, they have a few funding programs now. And Roger, unfortunately, I thought that their restaurant one was going to be longer, but it already closed. But they did have one specific to restaurant. Do you know any restaurants that got it?
Yeah, so that was a partnership with DoorDash,
Yeah.
and gave 100,000 US, which translated to 130,000 Canadian. So they're going to give $10,000 each to 13 restaurants. The only person that told me that they applied was Sugarcane, and but that's Sugarcane is on it, right? So they're
Yes,
very
yes.
much looking for all opportunities around. So that's the only person I know that applied. But I did tell all the restaurants that they should have tried to go for it.
And I'm hoping they did, because I'm curious, out of if only one out of the ones that you told, if there was a reason that maybe, of course they're busy, but maybe the application process could use work. These are things that we have to let funders know that, hey, there might be a flaw in the process that's keeping people from applying.
No, I think Ryan, in the case of the restaurants, as everybody knows, there's a severe staff shortage in the restaurant industry, and I think the owners are just bogged down. They're doing everything now: serving, cashier, cooking, marketing, everything. So
and delivering. When we went to Star Apple, and Michael was saying that he's delivering the orders too. It's like, oh
yeah, with his two kids. And it's they take turns doing the delivery. So man, I mean, that's crazy.
You have to get them some support. And so for this grant, it was in partnership with CIBC. So actually, I'll show you the CIBC section. So CIBC is one of the banks that do have a Black Entrepreneur Loan Program. So theirs goes up to 250,000, similar to BMO, RBC, Scotiabank has one, and of course CIBC, where CIBC, they do split it into two segments. So they have one that goes up to 250K for equipment and leasehold improvements. And for capital, working capital, they cap it at 100,000. And then for the equipment, you can amortize it over 10 years. So the loan payments is over 120 months. And for working capital, it used to be 2 years, but I recently just kind of got to the finish line with one of these, and they said the working capital has been increased to 5 years. So instead of paying off 100,000 over 2 years, which is quite insane, they've stretched it over 5 years. But you'll see when you click on Start Your Loan Application, when you fill this out, if you do not have your financial statements or your business plan completed, they actually will then let you know about the grant side of it. So the grant side is in partnership with the Black Chamber of Commerce. And you'll see, so if you need support with like increasing your financial literacy, finishing your business plan, your financial projections, and also your credit score, which is important because most of these bank programs, their minimum score is about 600. So if you're finding that your score, and that's for the loan, So you find if your score is below 600, it would be good to plug into some of these programs to get tips on how to increase your score, because that'll open you up to a lot of these loan programs that exist. And if you just wanted to go straight through the grant program with the Black Chamber of Commerce, you can actually sign up on, where is the link? Oh, here it is. So I'll put this link into the chat. That way you're able to just go directly through. I'll show you. So on the chamber site, you can sign up for their support for the business plan or cash flow projections, and you're able to go through the grant program again. One other thing that the Black Opportunity Fund did create was also a loan program, but that loan program is from a contribution from TD. And actually, let me see if I have, but this one, there's no grant section to it. So really, so let's see, so they're funding programs. So you'll see they had this restaurant grants, they had grants for nonprofits, and the one YMCA through the Black Opportunity Fund, yes, you do have to self-identify as being from the Black community. And so the entrepreneur program was the one I was just showing. And then they have this Black loan program as well. So this one from contribute, they got $10 million from TD. They do $50,000 loans. But again, you do need to have your business plan and cash flow projections completed. So if you don't have those done, definitely plug into the Black Chamber of Commerce, get it done, and now it'll really open you up to a lot of these loan programs. And I'll talk about why loans are important and not just to focus on grants later. But for now, let's get back to the grants that are available. One that I'd like to touch on is Summer Company. Again, it's probably going to open back up, I think January or February, but I noticed a lot of youth miss it when they can actually get a grant in the summer to start their own businesses. And it's something that I took advantage of back in 2012, and has come back and been a mentor for it and trying to get the word out to more of our high school and even college and university students. Because if they want to see if entrepreneurship is for them, sometimes they're having difficulty finding a job in the summer. They could actually start their own business, get $3,000, but they get $1,500 up front and then $1,500 at the end to start a business and see if entrepreneurship is for them. If it is, I've seen people really take off with it. And myself, I used it to start a business while I was at Sheridan finishing my studies. And then I've seen other students just accept the experience and say, you know, entrepreneurship is not for me. But now they're able to put that onto their resume as experience, that when you have experience running your own business, it really puts you into, I'll say, a different class amongst your classmates. Like it elevates you based on that experience that you've gone through. And Roger, I know you have children. I'm curious if you're edging them into starting their own business, make sure they sign up for Summer Company.
Absolutely. They're very well. My son, he's more entrepreneurial. My daughter, she's not at the age yet, but yeah, I've been pushing him towards business because, as we know, the university college pipeline just teaches you to be an employee. It's not that's a terrible thing, but as you said earlier, 91% were CEOs and owners, right?
Yes.
So it kind of makes sense sometimes to chart your own time and energy to have your own business, right? So
absolutely, and
yeah,
this is where you can actually start to see who it's for.
Yeah,
because if you're getting
my dad was an entrepreneur, so I think that's where I got that from. And freedom is what you have.
100%. And it's the entrepreneurs that hire the employees. So the more,
correct,
right? The more that we can get job creators, I think, and using this type of grant to see who amongst our children are ready for entrepreneurship, it just seems like a win-win. right. So the next grant that I'm a big fan of, and again, if you've already applied to BAIDS and you haven't gotten through, please follow up or let me know so that I can follow up on your behalf, because the BAIDS program is very instrumental to getting a lot of the services that you need for your business done. And it's really structured in a great way that if you need, oh, actually, I think it shows a list of, oh, I didn't know. It's a year old. See, it's been going on for a year. Oh, on this page, it doesn't show. Let's see. Oh, I didn't know that this page existed either. So it shows the service providers. So usually there's a list that shows you what the different services that you're able to get for your business. So what the BBPA does, for example, if you need to get a business plan done, they would partner you with a service provider that can do your business plan. So you work together with them to get it done. And now the service provider invoices the BBPA through the BAIDS program, and they cover the cost for you. So you don't have to come out of pocket for a lot of these services that you might need. And some great ones that I've seen people use it for is the marketing strategy and also the execution, building their website. I've seen people build apps that they wanted to develop through this program. I do know, I think they narrowed it down to 3 types of services now that you can get. But here are some of the service providers. Hey, and Convo Media is there. So if you do need marketing support, Roger Dundas and Camille Dundas are the founders of Convo Media. So you want to give
Wendy
a little plug?
Vincent. And Wendy Vincent.
And with, oh, okay, oh, it's 3 of you that
Yeah,
founded it?
Wendy deals with all things publicity. But I thought what I'd heard is that the BAIDS program, and please somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I thought they had closed it, that they had pretty much gotten to the end of the dollar figure. That's what I'd heard.
Money comes in, it's over 3 years. Well, it ends 2024. So I know initially the first tranche of money they got was exhausted quite quickly.
Right.
I was under the impression that more money would come in this fiscal and next fiscal. So that's
okay.
Where I follow up and see like, hey, is it still open? Because they should be getting more money. And they've been fundraising outside of the federal dollars that they got. So, right. And on the application, let me check here. Because maybe you're right and it's closed. So here, it's still open, so you can still apply. And I do believe it shows which services you're able to get. So before you can pick 3. So yeah, they did narrow it down to, so accounting, bookkeeping, and taxation support, business planning and budgeting, and legal help. So that's interesting. They took away the marketing. Did they tell you that they took away the marketing, Roger?
No, not at all. I just know that they didn't reach out to us for a while. They haven't reached out to us since I feel like it's been February. That was the last time we did any work.
They used to do grant writing too, and I was people through it, and they've taken that away. So
yeah, there was a lot of people requesting marketing support. New websites, social media strategies, social media execution, and marketing strategies as well. So there's a lot of work that helped, but I guess they're good with the core. I guess core is accounting.
Right, and definitely business plans, because
I mean a lot of companies definitely need that. Business planning and Effectuation Optimum, they do succession planning, and I would strongly recommend that anybody who is above 40 years old and is looking to retire sometime soon, they should have a succession plan in place.
Right. Excellent. And you said they were one of the service providers?
Yes, they were. If you go back to that page, Effectuation Optimum, there they are on the left-hand side.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Definitely check that out. Actually, let's see if I can.
Yeah, they actually helped us with Buy Black, so we have to make sure that we can continue. It mustn't die. A company mustn't die when the owner dies.
100%.
Not necessarily, right?
Yes. All right, I'll definitely check that out. And let's see, who do we have next? All right, so Digital Main Street, if you've been following along, we've talked a lot about Digital Main Street. They have two really great core programs. One is the Shop Here, which is powered by Google, and it allows you to get support building out your website or e-commerce website. So I'll show this one first because I had thought it was completed, but most recently my daughter actually used it to get a website done for her book that she wrote, Jazz and Dad Start a Lemonade Stand. And so if you fill out this form, they get back to you really quickly, like within 2 to 3 business days. And at no cost, they help you set up your e-commerce store. And so if you have this e-commerce store, and especially if you don't have an existing website, you can really use that as your full website and then also sell items through it. So if you're looking to, even if you have one already and just want to improve it, or if you have a regular website and want to add e-commerce to it, I was able to do that with Detailing Nights. Actually, I can show you what they did for me. So they were able to help us improve our Detailing Nights website. So you see, I won't even show you what it used to look like, but then we also now are able to sell products through the website. So if you need leather cleaner, I'm your guy. But so that's where, even if you have an existing website, if you're not selling through the website, definitely check out Shop Here because they still have this program open. The other one that I'm a big fan of is well, first I'll touch on the Canada Digital Adoption Program. You can get $2,400 to help with your online marketing. The one caveat is you do have to have payroll, at least one employee on payroll. So if you do, I would sign up for that program. The application is pretty straightforward. You're able, on this site, it just asks you where you are. I want to see if it'll get me to the app, because sometimes you have to log in. So if you are not logged in, yeah, it's going to tell you create an account. And then when you create an account and log in, you're able to apply. But you get $2,400 to help with, again, adopting e-commerce and selling online. But their raise program, you're able to get $10,000, up to $10,000 for your business, again, to amplify that online marketing. And actually, Roger, are you one of the vendors on this one as well? Because it would be good to
No, they advertised it. I think they advertised it on buyblacks.com, but we were never, Convo Media was never a vendor.
Okay, because that's where they do have this vendor directory. So while people are filling out what they're going to do with the money, a lot of it has to do with marketing online. So if you have clients that, let's say, can't afford you right now, point them in this direction to get the money from Digital Main Street so that they could use it for digital marketing that you offer. All right, and so I'll show you bit about the process. So you do have to make an account. So up here where it says sign up and log in, oops. I think I might have hit it twice. Actually, I think my internet's going slow. Let me take, can you still hear me okay? Or am I frozen? Uh-oh, did I freeze? Am I still here?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Now? Okay. I did see a question. Is my business considered a social enterprise? Yes. So Detailing Nights is considered a social enterprise. We do car cleaning as our income generator. And then we work with youth in the community teaching entrepreneurship as our social give back to the community. And when we talk about the investment readiness program, we'll go deeper into the concept of social enterprise and why it's so important. So for this one, yes, you do have to create an account, and then the Raise program allows you to get up to $10,000 to support your online, a grant of $10,000 to support your online marketing. And so with this process, you sign up through Digital Main Street, the organization that does like the webinars and the kind of walks you through the process of creating your budget and your, what do they call it? Your roadmap. So kind of what you're gonna do with the money is called Parkdale, the Parkdale Center, the Parkdale Innovation Center. Yes, the Parkdale Innovation Center. So it's pretty straightforward. They had cohorts in, I believe, May, June, July, and then they closed it down and we're reopening in fall. So I don't see it reopened just yet. Actually, let me see. So if I log in, it should show. Still open. Okay, so the application button isn't there just yet. So as soon as this one opens, we will definitely send that information to you. But for now, be sure to create an account, and then you'll see when you create an account, it'll actually show you the grants that are available at the top. So if you click it, and you can go through the process here. So I actually did not finish this one. So I gotta finish that application when we are done this presentation. All right, so you saw that was the digital adoption program. So this DMZ one, unfortunately, is closed, and the social impact stream, actually, let me see. I think this one closed already as well. Yeah, this one did close. And where's our other one here? And the Desjardins Good Spark grants, that one did just close last week. But now the one that is open is the Investment Readiness Program. So this was a program that is part of a bigger pool of dollars called the Social Finance Fund. So the Social Finance Fund, it was created to invest into social enterprises. And what they found was that a lot of social enterprises weren't ready to take on, I'll say, repayable investments. So investments of hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars, where it could be for equity in the company or a long-term repayable loan. And so they created a grant program where they took 50 million from the $800 million pot to create the Investment Readiness Program, so that social enterprises or those thinking of starting social enterprises could actually get a grant of up to $100,000 in cycle one. I did see that cycle two, the cap is 75,000. But with this grant, you're able to fine tune your social enterprise, either to help get it to market, or if it's already established and operating, to really fine tune and get it ready for investment. And you'll notice I'll say ready for investment a lot, because that is what it's designed to do, is really to, as a stage one, to you being ready to be investable. So if you're just thinking to get the grant to kind of stabilize what you're doing and don't have ambition to grow it and get additional investment, that will hurt your application. So with this grant, there's two funders that are open right now. So the Community Foundations of Canada, which are open up, and the Foundation for Black Communities. And you'll see the Foundation for Black Communities, they also have two streams themselves. So I'll come down here. That's the Readiness Program. Actually, I'll put this into the link to the chat as well. Here. So the two streams that they have is, the first one's the Explore stream. So if you're not registered, or if you're an individual, you can still apply, and go through their Explore stream. It does have a cap of $25,000. And again, this the Foundation for Black Communities is focused on the Black community. So if you're not registered as a corporation, this would be the best stream for you. If you are registered as either a sole proprietor or an incorporation, you are able to go for their Stabilize and Build stream for up to $75,000. And then $75,000, you'll see on this page, it does show examples of eligible expenses, examples of ineligible. And really what they want to see is that you're using the money to fine tune your current social enterprise. And again, like I mentioned, get it ready for stage 2, which is bigger investment when you're ready to grow it. So that link, definitely check through these two. And you'll see with the Community Foundations of Canada, this one's open to the broader public, so not specific to the Black community. So you are able to apply now for, again, up to $75,000. And I'll give you a look at what the portal looks like. So you do have to sign up on this portal to apply. It's the Community Foundations, what's it, the SurveyMonkey apply. So when you register, just so you can get an idea of what it looks like. So this was from the first cycle. We were approved in, oh my gosh, 2020, and now we're going for it again in 2022. And you'll see when you log in, I want to show you that you can actually sec here. And you'll notice that this whole application is quite finished, because last week we were doing our working group around applying for the investment readiness program. So if that's something that you want to watch, there's 5 days, an hour each of us going section by section through the IRP. Check with Empowered for X, and you should be able to, I think you can still pay to get access to it. And we're going to be doing it again, but kind of the marathon on November 17th. We're going to go through the entire application again, similar to what we did last week. So if this is of interest and you want to apply for the investment readiness program, but you do want a bit of guidance, definitely check out the next working group that's going to happen on November 17th. And you'll see, oh, did I miss the first section? Oh, it's in the eligibility section. So it's right at the beginning. You'll see that you are able to, excellent, Sue, yes. You're able to apply for both the Community Foundations of Canada and the Foundation for Black Communities in the same application. So if you find that you only qualify for one of them, so one of the stipulations with the Community Foundations of Canada is you have to be registered as a corporation and operating for over a year. So if you haven't been operating for more than a year, you probably only can focus on the Foundation for Black Communities, and then you can be unregistered, an individual, or registered for under a year, and you'll still qualify. And again, if you're not from the Black community, you can still apply through the Community Foundations of Canada. So yes, this one is one of the best grants that I've seen, especially for for-profit social enterprises. So on that spectrum of social enterprise where, where on one side, there's nonprofits that already have that social impact mission, but when they create investment or an income generating activity, that activity is considered a social enterprise. But then on the other side of the spectrum, for a for-profit company, they already have an income generating activity. Now, when they start to operate and support the community by either reducing certain barriers for a segment of the population or giving their time, it does qualify as well if you donate a percentage to nonprofits or charity organizations. But typically the threshold for that, they want to see like a good chunk of profits going towards social causes. But if you're operating like a social enterprise, And for example, with Detail Ignites, the income generating activity was the cleaning of cars. We do mobile car cleaning. And then the work that we do in the community with youth that are in high school or college, or unemployed youth, or out of school, or even those coming out of detention, and teaching them entrepreneurship is that positive social impact that we have. So that's why we're considered a social enterprise. So one thing that I do like to talk to for-profit companies about is how to include a social enterprise element. And if you haven't thought of it, I'd love to have those conversations. And that's a big conversation to have with restaurants as well, Roger, because they can qualify for this. A lot of times they hire people from the segments of populations that might have difficulty getting hired elsewhere, but now they're operating a social enterprise, and that's a lot more expensive. So being able to communicate to restaurants that they could qualify for this grant, I think would be good.
I know that there's one social enterprise restaurant, the BB Man Project. They help people to set up their own restaurant and how to run a proper kitchen. So I think you had put me onto them first, actually.
Yeah, right. And that's where, we definitely want to make sure that they apply for this.
So, we need to cycle back with Raquel. And then there's also some guys out of Montreal, Desta.
Yes.
They probably need to get this information as well.
Desta, was that with Dunia?
I
have to check.
I can't remember the name. Tamara was the person that connected with me, but I'll drop the name of the organization.
Cassandra.
Say it again.
Oh, Cassandra.
Cassandra.
Cassandra. That sounds right. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Is the head executive director.
Excellent. And so that's where this one is open. So they have 2 deadlines. The first deadline is, where is it? Oh, it's right there. So for the Community Foundations of Canada, it's due November 22nd, so in a couple of weeks. For the Foundation for Black Communities, that one is due December 1st. So if you're going for either of those, definitely tune in to our November 17th event. Actually, let me see if I have that link handy. And I'll put it into the chat for you. Or Mohammed, do you have it handy? Well, I think as soon as I put on my camera, computer just tenses up, man, tenses up. All right.
What you asking for, Ryan?
Oh, I found it. The link to the actual grant writing working group that we're gonna do on the 17th. All right. So the next one I did want to touch on, unfortunately, the Toronto Enterprise Fund, I believe it's closed for now. They usually do at least 2 or 3 per year. And again, it's focused on social enterprises, but they go a bit deeper where it's employment social enterprises. So those that are working to or supporting hiring people that may have difficulty finding employment, they would be considered an employment social enterprise. But on this website, it does have the 2 recordings that really give a better overview of what a social enterprise is and what an employment social enterprise is. So if you did want to check it out, I'll put this into the chat so you can review it. And they have 2 grant programs where the first one is their, I think it's called Catalyze. Their Catalyzing grant gets you up to $10,000 to finish the feasibility study and the business plan for your social enterprise. And then the Sustaining, you're able to get up to $100,000 to support the growth and the launch of your social enterprise. So especially if you're thinking of something new to add to your business, if you're a for-profit business and you want to add a social enterprise element, you can actually get a grant through the Toronto Enterprise Fund to work on that business plan for the social enterprise concept. And similar, the investment readiness program, the same thing. So if you have a new idea, you can apply to get money to finish the concept and finish your business plan. So don't feel like you have to have the social enterprise already operating and you can't apply if it's just a new idea. You can definitely just with your idea apply for this one. All right. And so two more that I wanted to touch on. One is the Ontario Trillium Foundation. Again, they do have the Resilient Communities Fund open, but this is for like Ontario Trillium Foundation is very focused on nonprofits, but this is where as a nonprofit, or sorry, as a for-profit, you want to collaborate with nonprofits that align with your mission. Because a lot of times there's things that nonprofits can't execute, but they can apply for, and you can be the partner on that application that actually executes. And that's what we did with the Detail Ignites, because the nonprofit that we were working with wanted to start an entrepreneurship program, and we were already running an entrepreneurship program. So we were able to collaborate. So they were focused on youth unemployment, and we were focused on teaching entrepreneurship to unemployed youth. We were able to put that together into an application, and we were successful with the Youth Opportunities Fund. And again, was applying before on my own, wasn't able to get through. When we were able to put together a collaboration application, it was successful. So I'm seeing now actually written into the guidelines of grants that they want to see collaborations on these applications. So if you're a nonprofit and you've been applying for grants and not as successful as you feel like you should be, start to think about how to bring in partners and people to collaborate with, because it really strengthens your application. So, and the Ontario Trillium Foundation, again, they have cycles of grants every so often, but anything that can be done to improve your application, definitely think, and it's helped me a lot with collaborating with other organizations. And the last one, I do know we're up against two, so if you do have questions, feel free to stick around and ask them. But the last one, I just wanted to show you kind of the breadth of grants that are typically out there. Although I do know the Ontario government's portal is quite dense, but at any given time, there's 20 or so grants available. So again, if you're a nonprofit looking at collaborations around people that have these same missions and goals as you do, and if you're a for-profit, aligning with those nonprofits to go after any of these grants here. But again, we can go deeper into that another day. I did want to pause and just one, say thank you and see if there were any questions as we were going through these different grants. I'll stop sharing and then I will fix my camera. So the raise hand feature is really good. Or, I mean, if you want to be first, you can just unmute. But I want to just check if there's any questions before we wrap up.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You had mentioned some sort of intensive workshop that you'll be doing. I think you said it was referred to the investment readiness program. Is that it?
Yes, that's the one.
Can you share? I mean, I'd like to register. So you share the link or something?
Yes, I was able to put it in the chat. So that one that says event, oh no, did I put two? Hold on, which one did I put? Yeah, the link that's in the chat is for the working group. So that's going to be November 17th in the evening. And again, we'll go section by section through the grants to help you get it done.
Okay. Oh, you sent it twice. It's the same one.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And hold on, get the link to the slide that has the links. Yeah, the Mohammed, the presentation slide that goes out, those links are clickable, right? Because the presentation,
Yeah, they're all hyperlinks.
yeah, so it will be included in the presentation. All right, any additional questions? Otherwise, we can end on time. All right, because yeah, really, we always just wrap up saying we want to see you win. We're here. We've been successful with grants, so we have great templates, but also being able to create your own template and go through the process, especially the investment readiness program. I think it really allows you to talk through and put onto paper the ideas that you have for your business. One, to apply for the grant, but then two, have that document now that you can use for future grants. And since we've been successful in 2020, I use that document for more grants that we've been able to write. And it became kind of the foundation, and we've been able to build on it. So use the IRP to really flush out that idea, possibly get money for it, and then go after additional dollars. The question here, do you have to be a resident of Canada for all these grants? The ones that I have talked about are Canada focused. So if you are outside of Canada, definitely email us. Mohammed, if you could put the email in the chat, that way we can do a research for the section of the country or the continent that you're in, and then send you those results. But yeah, these ones that I talked about were Canada focused. Right. Yes. So those slides will come out shortly. And again, I really appreciate everyone taking time to come and learn about these grants that are out there. Just because it's grant season, I know we get excited, but as tedious as it might be, let's get those applications in. And what I enjoy most is, because I write a lot of grants, is getting an email for a grant that you got approved for and you forgot that you wrote. So putting it out there into the universe, I'm a quantity type person, but again, the more that you put out there, the better that the writing gets. So if this is the first time that you're writing your grant, please don't shy away from it. If you get stuck, let us know, let me know, let the team know, so that we can kind of guide you through it to get it in. And then I promise you, once you get that first one in, the rest just get a lot easier and easier. And even any final words, Roger, I know you're quite versed in writing grants for the media section.
Yeah, that's something that we probably want to do as well, Ryan, is to maybe do a session focused on grants that are available for Black media organizations. Because believe it or not, when I talk to my peers, who most of them have been operating before me, they were not aware of, I would say, 75% of the grants that are out there. There is one Black media organization that didn't want to get any grants because he doesn't need the money. There is one.
Yes.
He's my mentor.
Right. Yes. Always love to get to that point. But for me, it's like, stack it on then. I know you might not need it, but yeah.
No, he doesn't want the appearance of having any type of obligation to the government. I think that's what he was saying. But I mean, CBC gets money; they're paid directly by the government, and they bash the government every day.
$1 billion.
So, yeah. So I again, if you don't need the money, you don't need it, right?
True. Awesome. And I did see a question, Tim, for not-for-profit administration staff. Typically, the grants that you see are for programs, and then you have to get creative in that person that's going to be running that program. If they're part of your staff, then you're able to pay them. But now with the investment readiness program, it's eligible to pay staff. So again, that staff does have to be working on that project, but if they're already on your team, so you can bring on new staff, make sure that's one of their, I guess, duties is running that project, but you'd be able to bring them in for staffing. So that is an eligible cost. And so grants for the music industry, like Factor, again, I'm not super versed in the music industry grants. I have seen Factor, and there's like the arts councils. So that is something I need to get a bit more versed in so that we can present it. But like Roger was saying, having a specific session about media and then including those grants as well would be great. And, oh, so can board members get paid for taking on roles in a grant? So if it's a board member of a nonprofit, no, they wouldn't be able to, because I don't think the actual articles, a board member can't gain from operations of the nonprofit. So you would have to come off the board and then join one of the executive staff. Oh, sorry, Roger, you wanted to say something?
Ryan, that's the reason why I haven't joined any boards. Because if I join the board, and I've been asked to be on every board, and if I join the boards, then I'm going to lose my revenue. So I have to pick my poison, right? Do I join the board, lose the revenue, or just stay off? So I stay off.
Yeah, and we've had people come off our board because they, let's say, build websites, and so we're like, if you're gonna bid on this contract, then you can't be on the board. It's a nuanced thing, but yeah. So Tim, you're saying 20% of board members can participate as staff? Did you want to unmute and expand?
Yeah, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, according to the Canada Act for nonprofit organizations, 20% of our board can actually record themselves as staff and participate in funding.
Okay, that's good. Because yeah, the way I read it in our articles was that it was a no-no. So
unless you have your own bylaws stating that you don't want that, but legally, according to the Canada's Act of NFPs, 20%, up to 20% of the board could come off and participate, because they also understand that a lot of times these startup NFPs, it's usually the board members that are doing the groundwork, right? So
the working board.
Yeah.
That's good. So Judith, hey, bring that up to the board. Be like, find that so you can quote it. Be like, listen, it says 20%. I want to be one of that 20% that is getting paid. So I want to join the staff, and you should be good.
Thank you.
Yeah, good afternoon again, Ryan. You had mentioned earlier when you started, you're inviting them to come and join us. So I've placed the links in the chat before you go to our upcoming workshop with our one and only Chris Betts on Wednesday next week, and also our anniversary celebration December 3rd. Okay.
Much appreciated. So yes, that is in the chat. If you do want to join us for either the workshop about identifying your target market, that's next week, Wednesday. And then our anniversary is Saturday, December 3rd. Would love to see you there. Okay, sweet. And yes, Ben, the recording will be sent out afterwards. All right. Oh, Rosette, I did see you're unmuted. Did you have a question? Oh no, that was from before? Okay. Cool.
Yeah, you had mentioned earlier about sort of nonprofit and for-profits collaborating to do these grants. If something like that is initiated, it's done by the nonprofit, right?
No, it can be either or. Like I've been a for-profit that reached out to a nonprofit to say, hey, I saw that you guys do X, which was programs for unemployed youth. And then I was like, I also want to help them find employment. And then we started working together that way.
And if that, say the nonprofit has initialized a grant proposal based on services that we were collaborating on, but then that connection has fallen away, does that affect their grant process?
Yeah, it depends how integral a partnership you write into the grant. If you say, because if the grant is looking for a partnership, and then you say, I have partnered with this organization or this business, and then it's approved, it'll be difficult to now use somebody else because you have to go back to the funder to say, hey, we changed our partner. If it's, hey, we're going to be using this vendor for, let's say, marketing, for example, and you put into the budget marketing strategy X dollars, and you don't really say, and then you mention in the application, like, hey, there's people in the community that we might lean on to use as a vendor, but when it's approved, you're not in stone saying like you're using this person. You can pick still the vendor But again, so if you have a relationship with them, you can use them. If it's dropped off, you can be like, okay, I'm going to pick somebody else.
And oftentimes the grants are one-time things for the most part, right? So if the funding has already happened, they can cut ties and move on if they want to.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, Tim, go ahead.
Yeah, just along with that that line of questioning for collaboration, is there within the Black ecosystem, the 40 plus companies that you're working with, obviously you have access to thousands of businesses, for profits. So is there someone that actually is actively trying to connect the collaboration for grants, or is it just everyone just have to fend for themselves?
Yeah, right now there's no purposeful connection of for-profits that have a similar mission to nonprofits. And I'm curious how we could do that. Because I know there's directories, but for the purposes of actually going after funding, that has not been created. So that is actually something I would take away for myself as a homework item, because I talk about it and now maybe that can be like a form that people sign up. It's like, hey, if you have these, if this is in your mission, you put it in and then it will connect you to nonprofits that have that mission. Yes, you've given me homework, sir.
I'm saying that to say that I pay a lot for a software called Grant Connect. And gotcha. Grant Connect does exactly like that, but you don't find any Black organizations in the Grant Connect. It's you pay $100 a month for Grant Connect to stay online, and you can see everyone that does exactly what you want to do and how much money they've given away over the years, and you can actually connect to them directly. We don't have that. That's why I was asking that. I thought maybe we did have it, because I was going to tell you to actually go online and check out Grant Connect. It costs a lot of money per month, but that's where, if in our ecosystem of anyone here could just go on there and say, oh, this person does exactly, has the same values and same mandate that I have as a for-profit, I could connect with them.
Absolutely. I love that. Actually, I'm going to check that out. Sweet, sweet. All right. Yeah, but I mean, just before we wrap, was there any other additional questions? I did see, let me put their email into the chat, so I'll follow up with you. Cool. Again, enjoy the rest of the afternoon, the rest of the week. If anything, looking forward to seeing you at our anniversary. Looking forward to seeing you at the working group. If the investment readiness program, you have the link, you start to look through it. If you get stuck, definitely join us on November 17th. If you are good and maybe just want an extra set of eyes on it, feel free to email us. Actually, I'll put my email here. And other than that, it's a pleasure. I really appreciate your presence. It is not lost on me. It really definitely, I hope you got the value out of it. And I'm hoping to see your applications in and I get an email saying that you are successful so we can celebrate with you. All right. So have a good rest of the day and we shall talk soon.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks, Sue.